Hi guys, good morning, just Michael here from the lovely west coast island of Great Cumbria on the west coast of Scotland. So hi to all over the world that follow us. I just thought I'd cover a quick training tip. Recently we've been getting quite a lot of calls in respect of recall, that people's dogs are really poor with recall, and then I find out that these people are actually allowing their dog off lead, and then they're trying to recall the dog, and then basically they're trying to run before they can walk. So if your dog has a poor recall, my first question would be, why are you actually allowing the dog off lead when you have that such a poor recall? So first of all, a couple of training tips. As I said, if you want to train recall and you want to get a really solid bomb-proof one, I would be training your dog where there is little or no impulse, possibly in your own house to start with, possibly in your hallway, in your own garden. Once we're in the garden, have the dog on a line to help you out. So what I would generally do is allow the dog to go and sniff, be aroused, or there's a little bit of impulse in the grass area. Once the dog's got that little bit of impulse, I would then be recalling the dog in. I would give the dog one opportunity to recall, and then if he didn't, I would be applying a little bit of pressure through the lead. Once the dog comes back into me, I'd be rewarding through the dog's own food for that food reward. In regards to the food, I would be ditching the bowl. What I mean by that is I would no longer be feeding the dog from the food bowl. I'll be making the dog eat from the hand every time he comes back in, because I want the dog to understand that once they engage back with me, this is where it all happens. All the good stuff happens when they come back to me. So that's where I'd start before I even went into a park or outside, before I'll even let a dog off the lead. Once we've started bomb-proofing that, and we're getting a solid recall within the garden, the dog understands that everything back with me is where all the good stuff happens, I would then be taking that outside. Over short distances, maybe to just a local park, and I'd keep the long line on as well, even an 8-foot lead. Once the dog's aroused or impulsed by something else outside, again, I'll be asking that dog for recall. As soon as the dog recalls into me, I'm firing the food into it again, making sure the dog understands that every time it gets back to me, all the good stuff happens back here. When we get to the stages of allowing the dog off lead, I would probably take it to an enclosed space. Thereby, if the dog doesn't come back, at least you have that safety net of the dog not going to run off. All around the country, we've got these little sort of tennis courts, basketball courts, five-a-side courts, the Astro courts set up all over the place, and they've got a gated entry. A lot of the time when these places aren't being used, I use them to bomb-proof recalls and different bits and pieces. And once we do that, we're allowing the dog off lead, allowing the dog to be recalled back in, and we're strengthening it all the time. I've got both dogs out with me this morning. We've got quite a good recall as well, because every time we're out walking, we're taking the dog's food, or if we're not taking the dog's food and we're taking food reward with us, we generally cut back on the dog's food back in the house. Why? Because we don't want the dog, one, getting overweight, and secondly, if he's not hungry, he's not going to work for it. So we're getting the dogs to work for their own food or food reward through a high value treat, etc. Whether it's hot dogs, bacon, cheese, anything like that, we're strengthening recall all the time. So while we're actually out walking this morning, and when we were on our way up to the top of the island, we actually recall all the time. Rico, my Rottweiler's over in the corner over here, he's clicker trained on recall as well. So the thing is with him, if I call him in and I click, the chances are he's going to come straight. Rico! And here he comes. Come on, buddy. So he was off, being aroused in the grass. Every time he comes back to me, he's going to get rewarded every time. Finn, as you can see, is just lying about behind me. Good. So as I said, to strengthen that recall, we're just doing food reward all the time. Finn's just away off into the grass area there, so we'll just wait till he's aroused. So he's aroused over there. Just a bit of impulse. See what he's up to. Yeah, he's got a sniff on something there, so we'll just let him there. Finny, come! Good lad! Come on! Good job! So, as I said, we're using food all the time. Finn come back there because he knows all the good stuff happens here. The dogs are engaged with us, and this is what we do all the time. So anytime we're out, that's all we ever do. Whether you know it or not, you're training on every walk, because you're constantly lead walking, you're constantly recalling, you're asking the dogs to come in and check in with you. Make it a bit more interesting when they do come back. Give them that food reward. Every time they come in, they know it's always going to happen. Finny, come! Good job, buddy. Good. So guys, it was just a short video. If you want to strengthen recall, this is the way to do it. do it in a low impulse, low arousal area first. Then when you take them first out to the area, outside, before you even let them off a lead, put them on a long line, make sure they know all the good stuff happens back here, and that way you're going to get good, strong recall. Good. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.